Tyrone full forward, Cathal McShane with us. Cathal, good morning to you. How you doing?
Morning, how's things?
Yeah, good. You've had an exciting couple of months. Can you talk to us, maybe bring us back to the very first time when it got onto your radar that heading down to Australia was a possibility? What was that process like? What happened?
I think obviously, Tyrone season ended and then we went back to our club. We're playing our club and, our own rows and did actually well this year. We got the semi-final championship and then we had an extended run then in the league as well. We made the playoffs. The season not quite long, but I think after the club scene ended in around November time, I think it was, maybe a wee bit before, the guys were in touch from across the water. I think it was scouts that got in touch first. They say that there's an interest, and then they said that the club would be coming to get in touch with you. So it just sort of was a process to get it. It wasn't something that I was expecting, but it came, and we dealt with it going forward then.
Yeah, and was that something that when you say you didn't expect it, it's nice to be wanted, right? It's like oh right, okay, I'm definitely going to have a look at this and see what the crack is. Like, what did they want? What when they get in touch with you, they're like, look, just come down and have a look, or do they want you to do physical tests? Do they want do they want to like do a battery to see exactly what your explosiveness is, what your stamina is, all that kind of stuff? Did they put you through a combine? How did that work?
No, there was no mention of a combine. I think what they were happy that they seen what they wanted in terms of last year. There was talk, obviously, they were looking for an experienced forward. So, I think they thought that I fitted the bill there. But again, in terms of there was no mention, no tests, nothing like that. It was just basically they were interested, and they got in touch, and it went from there really. So they organised them for me to come over and stuff like that. So that's what happened.
And what was the trip like when you were over? Like, was there ball in hand stuff? Were they checking your kicking technique with the Aussie rules ball, or at that stage was it kind of like, look, do you want to come or not?
I think I was out for 2 weeks, so I think it was obviously get out there and get a feel for the situation, see how I feel in that type of environment. Obviously, going out there, you're using a different ball, so that's obviously they're going to be working on that, trying to get you kicking on it and things like that. But it did at the start, you could see maybe where I wasn't doing it right, and then as the days progressed, you could see you're amending the way you're holding the ball and the way you're positioning the ball and the way you're dropping it down, and when you do that, then you start to see success in terms of an improvement. I did feel that I could see myself improving when I was out there, and I did really well.
So you were actually at training, it was you were joining in training sessions and kicking goals, basically. Yeah,
there's obviously limits to, obviously what you can't join in full on, because obviously the AFL have limits there in terms of what you can do. But no, it was 80% of 90% of, you could say, that I was involved in all the drills and different things. So it was just getting your game awareness in it. And to be honest, it was something that it was challenging, but I felt that I did really well. Obviously, then it came down then that how to make the decision recently there, so then obviously I went with that. But no, I had a good experience out there and did really well, yeah.
Could you explain that thought process then for the decision making?
I think obviously you're out in Australia, you're just obviously looking at the obviously the professional environment and things like that, and it did appeal to me in terms of I did really enjoy when I was out there, my time out there. But when I came home, I had to weigh everything up, and obviously, at the minute, I felt, from last year, I felt that I was in a good position in my Gaelic game here at home. So, obviously, you're surrounded by good people back here. You have your family, you have the great Tyrone supporters, you have good people that's here to help you. Maybe when you go out there, you just wouldn't have your family for a start, you know what I mean, and things like that out there. So, it's just small things that you have to weigh up, and obviously, like everything in life, there's deadlines for decisions, and at that fast approach, and I had to go with what I thought was best for my future going forward, and that's here in Ireland. So that was my decision.
When you were making the journey down, Cathal, was anybody at home chatting to you? Was Mickey Harte chatting to you, kind of telling you about the reasons why you should potentially stay and play for Tyrone?
Oh, listen, everybody's very supportive in terms of what I was going to do. I think obviously my family were saying, here, listen, Cathal, it's up to you, and you're old enough, mature enough now to go and do what you want to do and things like that. Again, it was a good experience, but no, I don't. Mickey wasn't saying, no, here, you better stay here, whatever. He knew, he was aware that I was going out. But again, that's I had made well clear that I would have to come home and make a decision. So I've just got to sort of get the experience, and obviously if it went really well, and I felt this was for me, then it could be a possibility. But as I say, the Adelaide Crows are they're very, very respected bunch of guys out there, and they treated me well when I was out there, and I did have a good experience. But again, just coming home, obviously you have to sort of, I think there's a deadline in place, so you had to try and weigh up everything and make your decision before that time passed, obviously, and that's what I did.
How close did you actually come to signing for an AFL team? Was it an extremely tough decision?
It was, in terms of obviously the professional environment's obviously an appealing factor. You go out there and you start training at 9 in the morning. You're finished up around 1 or 2. Do you know what I mean? And then the rest of the day is yourself. So it was an appealing factor in terms of just the lifestyle, all that sort of things. And I've heard a lot of guys, spoke to a lot of Irish guys that was out there, and they all said the same thing. But again, it did come close in terms of, obviously it came down to the last day where I had to decide. I think I'm really, really happy with my decision. I'm happy here to stay in Ireland, stay in Tyrone, and represent the Red Hands, because that's obviously what I dreamt as a child, if you get me. Growing up and pulling on the white and red jersey. So I'm so happy with my decision, and I'm really looking forward now to the future ahead.
Did you speak with Conor McKenna? Would he have been? He's a bit younger than you, I think. Is he? Me and Conor was in the same minor team together. So we got beaten the Ireland final against Mayo back in 2013, I think it was. I spoke to Conor. Conor be a good friend, so I spoke with Conor, and obviously he gave me his side of things, and obviously he's been very, very successful. He's been a guy that's been out there and took to the game and done really, really well for himself. So that's obviously, I spoke to Conor, like I spoke to a few other guys as well. So it's just I was just trying to figure out get as much information as possible, and get a feel for what maybe was ahead for myself, and then obviously try and take advice from them guys, because they were there and did it, and that's what I done. And as I say, I weighed up all my options, and that's when I came to my final decision. Yeah, and look, I think the other thing that that is important here is that, like, the GAA, and it's a dream to play for Tyrone and to represent Tyrone, and hopefully at some point in your Tyrone career to win an All-Ireland. But it is something you're supposed to be doing in your spare time. You've got a career and the rest of your life to consider in Ireland as well. And especially in your early 20s, you're kind of making decisions that are going to have repercussions for you for the next 5 years or maybe the next 10 years. And if things go well, who knows, maybe the next 20, 25 years you end up. So this week there was an announcement that you've got a new job as well. Was that also part of this whole kind of decision-making process? Is like, well, if I stay, what is Cathal McShane? What is my career going to be? Who am I going to be outside of the world of my footballing identity?
Yeah, well, no, that's it. Obviously, when you're thinking, obviously, in GA and your GA career, it will come to an end. So obviously, you have to start planning for what you're going to be doing after that. And it's obviously, I have been given a good opportunity here to have a good career. So that's why I was thinking. Obviously, you go out to the AFL and you could be successful, and you could stay there for 10 years, or you could stay there for 8 or 9 years, whatever it is, and that would be seen as a successful spell. But if you did go out for 2 years and it didn't work out for yourself, then you'd have to come back. And I just felt that I was giving up too much in terms of where I was in my game at the minute. I was playing really well, obviously coming off my All-Star last year. Tyrone got the Ireland semi-final. A few kicks the ball away from being in a second final in a row. So there's lots of positives there, and I feel that Tyrone's at a good place, and that myself, going really well. So obviously there was an opportunity there for a career as well outside of football back home, and that was a big factor in me deciding that's definitely the right choice to stay at home. So I can use that now and try and progress through as well. And so you're not only looking for success on the pitch, you're looking for success off the pitch as well. So that gives me a good platform to go and do that.
Yeah, like that's obviously a huge factor as well. Am I right in saying you're qualified as a teacher, Cathal?
Yeah. We're down the teacher at Free St Mary's. That was 2 or 3 years ago. I didn't go straight into it, but so it's basically there's 2 degrees in St Mary's. So there's the BA and the BA. So I did the BA. So now I'm qualified there now this last couple of years. So I didn't go straight into teaching, but it's definitely it's something that obviously, well, I have a good career chance now, but if I didn't have that, it was something that I may have been thinking of falling back on, if you get me.
Yeah, totally. It makes sense to have that in the back pocket whenever you need it.
Yeah.
You talk to us about your game and going well, because some of the pictures that we had the other day, you had a number 8 on your back, and You went from being a good midfielder to a great full forward. What was that transition? How did that happen?
I think obviously the full forward position was always there in terms of that's where I played with my club all the way up. So from a young age, that's where I was playing, and I was well used to the position. Obviously, whenever I was in the Tyrone setup, the under 21s especially, that's where I really had a dominant year at midfield, and a year that I felt I made huge strides in terms of progressing my game. So then I pushed on into the senior team, and I think my debut was against Donegal, and it was in full forward. But again, you're just lacking a bit of experience and a bit of just the know-how of the game basically. And I remember that day first touch and things like that weren't the best. But again, that's just all with experience. You get that. But again, last year, it was, whenever we came in, I worked hard on it. Worked hard in terms of being in that position, and just a bit of crafting around there with certain different people. So. That seemed to work, but again, you can't rest on your laurels, because if you do, then you'll just you'll deteriorate, and you'll not progress any further. So it's always about trying to improve and get better, and that's my aim going forward.
How did you improve your shooting? Because I think your shooting went from a good average to again a great average. What was the specific thing that actually helped you get the confidence to take shots on and just to be better at it?
I think it's obviously practice makes perfect, and I know obviously it's easy to say that, but again, you're obviously staying behind in training, maybe getting out before training. You're working with the boys. It's we had Stephen Elan last year, and he was doing a lot of work with the forwards and things like that. So it definitely, I felt I improved my game in terms of different runs, and just obviously, I think it's all about getting the right technique, and yourself, whenever things going well for you, and next thing you start to notice that the ball's going over the bar instead of maybe falling wide. You've had a bit of confidence, and that's all comes with the form you're in. And last year I obviously was fortunate to have a good spell of form, and along with that came the confidence. And then when you have that equals just what would you say, success? So, in terms of your shooting, in terms of your execution of skills, etc. So I feel it was just all down to just having good confidence and having a good bit of form, and obviously practicing before and after training.
And how big a factor was that in the Tyrone game plan then last year? Because I think we always appreciated how good Tyrone were running the ball, especially over the last 5-6 years. But then I guess yourself and Matty Donnelly, especially inside as a two-man full forward line at times last year, added the scores. I presume that was a very deliberate tactical shift for 2019.
Well, here, listen, you want to try and have as many options as possible in terms of how you can play a game and how you can, like a different game plan or plan A, plan B, etc. So, it's good to have those options. I know obviously for the years we had a very, very strong running game, and that was evident, and whenever we were winning Ulsters and all a few years ago. But again, you're always trying to adapt, and you're always trying to add something to your game. So that definitely did add something to our game last year. But it's an option we have going forward. So when we use it, or whatever way we set up, that's obviously the plan, and we go with it. But I think again, it's good to have plan A and plan B, so that you can fall back in different aspects of play and things like that. So it definitely did help us last year. But again, you always seek to try and improve and go better, because if you don't, then it's not good if you get me.
When the rain was pelting down in Eden Dork with gale force conditions on Sunday, did you feel I've made the right decision here? It's good to be back on a GA pitch.
I was loving it. I had my Murphy's snood on and my Murphy's hat, so that was all going good. But no, here, listen, what a day to be back. Credit to Eden Dork Clubhouse. They because us guys started thinking with the weather, we thought that the game could be called off, but we got the word that it was going ahead. So no, here, listen, I was delighted to be back, and no better game to come back in and pick up 2 points, and try and now and build going forward for the rest of the league.
Carl, it sounds to me like you're actually going to really enjoy the added pressure and responsibility of being somebody who was an all-star full forward last year, who did have this off-season storyline, who's now back in the team, that there's a leadership role for you within that you're ready for.
Definitely, it's all about maybe stepping up, and obviously the older you get, the more experience you get, and guys start to look up to you. But I'm just glad that my future's clear, and I know where I'm going, because, as I say, I love playing with Tyrone and representing the people of Tyrone. So going forward now, it's all about trying to go on better than maybe this last few years. Obviously 2 semi-finals in a row, so you'd obviously be looking to aim high. But again, it's all about just taking one game at a time and trying to progress. And if we do that, we know we can get to a good place. But as I say, it's just about training away now and getting back to the basics. And it's obviously maybe missed a bit of training there, so it's good. It'd be good now to get back in full week training, leading up to the Galway game on the 23rd or 24th, is it?
Yeah. Listen, thanks a million for making the time for us this morning. Great to chat to you, and congratulations on your decision and getting all that sorted out.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you very much, and talk to you soon then. All right.
It's Cathal McShane there, giving us some insight into how the whole thing went down. It's pretty interesting.
Very interesting, yeah. Clearly taking a bit of time to kind of consider it all. You can sense that he was quite tempted by the opportunity, but he just loves Tyrone.
Yeah.
He loves GAA. I think that's at
and
the
he's
heart
really
of the
good at
decision.
it now as well. Like, I think if last year had been a kind of, you know, I mean, maybe he wouldn't have the interest, the interest wouldn't have come, but certainly, like, the athleticism and the profile is exactly what you can see working in Aussie rules. But
I think Adelaide, had they come in a year earlier, they would have got him.
that's the thing, yeah. It's like, it helps to be one of the best players in the country.